I'm coming up to the intersection of his car sideways. He gets out of the car and he's got the shotgun and he starts running. So I start riding after him.
Our guest today is Joe. He is a California Highway Patrol officer.
Because I can remember one where this guy's leg was just flat out sheared off. I'm the dummy asking him like, hey, what happened? How fast were you going? What lane were you in?
He spent his career on those highways, roughly 100,000 miles of interstate. The CHP patrols under a motto of safety, service, and security.
There's pure evil. You see some pretty screwed up things and you see some pretty messed up people.
And then Joe was injured on the job, and everything he knew from the outside he had to learn from again on the inside.
Aside from like that morning, I don't really remember before that.
You're driving home, traffic tightens up. Up ahead on the right, there are lights, a patrol car, and a man in a uniform standing about 3 feet from a lane where cars are still moving at 65 miles an hour. You look at him for about 4 seconds. Maybe you ease off, maybe you don't. Then you're past it, and by the next exit, you have forgotten he exists. He does not get to forget. That is not a scene to him. That's his office. Welcome to Unseen Impact. I'm Rory Pendergast, personal injury attorney, first-generation lawyer, and a guy from Montana who still thinks the Constitution is the most interesting thing anybody ever wrote down.
And I'm Kerrie. I've listened to Rory explain the law more times than any person should have to, so I know just enough to be dangerous. And I'm the one who's going to keep stopping you both to ask what any of that actually means.
Here's the thing you need to know before we start. I would rather you hear it from me in minute 2 than wonder about it in minute 40. Joe was my client. He came through my practice. That's a disclosure, and I'm making it up front because the whole reason I wanted this conversation is the thing that makes it awkward. He can tell you about my side of the table looks like from his side of the table, and I can't. I can tell you what I do all day. He can tell you what it feels like when it's being done for you, and you have no idea what is happening.
I'm going to jump the queue here because Rory has a running order he's very proud of, and I've been sitting on this one all week. Joe, you have stood at 100 of these. You have taken the report. You've been the calm person in the middle of the worst day of somebody's life. What is it like the first time you're the one who needs the help instead of the one giving it?
That is where we are going, and we are also going somewhere that has nothing to do with lawyers at all, which is the road itself. California's move over and slow down rule got expanded again. It now reaches more vehicles and more roads than most drivers realize. And I would bet money most people listening could not tell you what it actually requires them to do. Joe can. He has been standing on the wrong side of it. And look, the cardinal rule of the show is that the legal does not mean safe. You can do everything the vehicle code allows and still put a human being in the hospital. Today we have somebody who can tell you exactly where that gap lives. Joe, thanks for being here. Welcome to Unseen Impact. Well, hey, Joe, welcome back. It's great to see you again.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Hey,
you
Joe,
bet.
how are you?
Hi, Kerrie. How are you?
Nice to see you.
You too.
All right. So as I had said before, once again, we have retired CHP officer Joe Heightman. This time on the show, he's been on a couple of the little things where we've just kind of chit-chatted, but this time you are here to tell us all things CHP. So thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Although you were a CHP moto officer, kind of the elite force within the California Highway Patrol, you also were a client of Rory Law.
Yeah.
And so if you don't, to the extent that you want to, kind of tell us a little bit about what happened to you.
Yeah, sure. It's April 6th, 2021. I hopped on my motorcycle to go to work, and I didn't even make it to the freeway when a woman ran a stop sign in front of me. And ultimately, I hit her at like 50-something miles an hour. And then next thing I know, I'm in the hospital with God knows how many broken bones and injuries. So,
Well, if I remember right, it was like 23 or 24 broken bones. There were 2 or 3 ruptured, fairly major organs, head injury. Luckily, you can see in the back, this wasn't your helmet, but you were wearing a helmet similar to this.
yeah, I still have it.
Yeah.
The one from the accident?
Yeah, it's in my closet.
Is it all beat up?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a case for it.
Yeah, I think
Nice.
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, it's a nice reminder. That's it, like that.
Yeah,
You
It
want to
saved
talk?
your life, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Crazy. Well, you know what's funny is whenever I see those people wearing like the skull caps,
Oh,
like the little when they're riding, and I'm always like fairy dust as
fairy
they drive by
dust.
me splitting lanes. I'm always like, oh, your poor mother, wife, etc.
Call
But
those brain buckets.
Yeah,
brain
yeah,
buckets.
yeah. So you just brain can sit there.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, it's
it,
awful.
it was a significant and severe injury, and so you spent the first couple weeks in the hospital, bunches of surgeries. Um, at what point did you kind of come to?
Gosh, it's funny because um, the whole head injury aspect of it, apparently I was conscious the entire time after the accident,
Wow.
but I don't remember anything till about 8 hours later. And in my mind, I woke up in the hospital,
Huh.
but apparently that's not the case.
Like, what were the examples of it not being the case? Like, were you talking to people or
Apparently, I was talking to people the entire time.
what? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Well, and
and
if I remember correctly, you had for the first like couple weeks or few months, you had no memory of 4 months before.
right, yeah, I don't, and I still, aside from like that morning, I don't really remember before that for a period of time. And some of the doctors I talked to, really good doctors, were saying that there's a good chance you're going to get your memory back from the crash period of time and before that, but there's also a small chance you won't. And I guess I'm in that small chance because I still don't remember anything.
Wow.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah,
crazy. Well,
Jeez.
so looking at it from the perspective of being a CHP officer who you've come up on accidents, you've probably investigated accidents, you've written hundreds, if not thousands, of traffic collision reports, right?
right.
So what was it like being in that position, knowing what goes into there, and then but having to go through the process yourself?
It's funny because I didn't really look at it like I wasn't worried about them taking care of the report. I knew it was going to get handled appropriately. It made me think back to all the major accidents I went to and talking to those people while they're in the physical or mental state that I was in, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Like maybe I should have gone back and called them later on
Yeah.
and re-interviewed them, you
Yep.
know?
Yep.
Um, because I can
You're
remember one where this guy's leg was just flat out sheared off. And
Oh,
I'm the dummy asking him like, "Hey, what happened? How fast were you going? What lane were you
oh
in?"
God.
And I'm sure
Oh,
what
he's like, I mean, if I was conscious and talking, he could have given me good info, but then again,
oh.
it'd be nice to go back in time and say, "Hey, I talked to you
that's
that day. I'd like to talk to you again. What do you remember?"
that's
So that's the only thing I think
Wow.
about.
it's fascinating you bring that up because as one who's spent near 20 years looking at traffic collision reports, and sometimes you talk to somebody and they're like, this is completely wrong. Or, they talked to me right after I got hit. What's going on? And I always thought it was kind of interesting. I mean, I get it from a practical standpoint. You're an officer. You can't just follow everyone around. Your job is to be on the road.
Right.
And so you have to do what you can. But still, when you have significant crashes like this, who knows what sort of information is getting put there, and then
Yeah.
that becomes almost gospel, right? Because it's
Mm-hmm.
it's what's in the traffic collision report.
Yeah. And not to jump too far ahead, I know we're going to talk about like enforcement and whatnot later, but I think what that's why you have to be so thorough and like detailed in your reports because that may be the last time you write that bit of information down and you'll never see that report again, or they could have some lasting impact. Like I've had depositions on crashes that happened years prior,
Yep.
and only because I was detailed in what I wrote, and I'm like, yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah,
You
So
that
know,
can you go back and edit a report? Like say in a perfect situation and in
Mhm.
retrospect, you're like, okay, you went back to talk to the dude with the severed leg. Can you go back and edit the collision report? Or is it just like
Yeah,
an addendum?
yeah. So the Highway Patrol, I'm pretty sure they're still like this. It was always an 8 to 10 day turnaround for the report. Like you got to get,
Okay.
and that's like a fatality. Then you have like 30 days or whatnot. But they want the crashes in. They want them in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, when those reports get turned in, there's a officer or officers at the office whose sole job is to review those reports. They will like be like a professor. They'll have questions. They'll make some suggestions. They'll send it back to you to fix. Until that report is finalized, you can do whatever you want to it.
Okay.
But when it's finalized, you can just they call it a supplemental. You can just submit a supplemental. You can just be like, on this date and this time, so and so contacted me and provided additional information. I like for it to be included in the report, and you just write it out.
Well, the guy who does the editing sounds like he's probably really popular around the office.
You know what? I've had some really good ones. Yeah, and I've had some that people were just not very happy with.
Yeah, I bet.
Because it's like some of them try to make their style your style.
Yeah.
And they might have less time on than you.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you know? Like,
yeah, exactly.
You weren't there.
Right.
Like at one time, this guy, he wasn't a full-time accident review guy, but he was filling in because he was injured. So they put him there to help out to clear some of the reports. And I wrote my opinion about where this crash happened because I knew at this time of day, at this location, there's always this traffic pattern. I always backed up at this one specific point for like almost no reason, right? So I wrote my opinion based on my experience of working that particular area for like 10 plus years. I know this area. This is what I wrote. And he sent it back and he said, no, you can't say that. That's probably not what happened. I'm like, this guy he like literally never worked in that office before. He just transferred in and was hurt. So he had no experience.
Yeah.
So he wasn't my friend that day.
Yeah.
Well, but what's wild about it is that like I can't stress enough in personal injury how important the traffic collision report is. And then now it's difficult for most cases to even get a traffic collision report because the level of damage and injury has to be so high. So we do our SR1s and when
SR1?
The SR1 is a form that you submit to the DMV. It's just essentially, the person involved, the client signs it. You're just telling, this is the story of what happened. Here's all the information, the vehicle information, the insurance information, and then it's a formal document, state document that sticks with the DMV. But it's like they're unbelievably important because the insurance companies, the at-fault insurance companies, can't hide from a traffic collision report. And so then when they're actually done, if there's something that's an error, whether it's the officer or whether it's the reviewer, it has a long-lasting impact. And then from a procedural standpoint, you don't get called back to it because it could take 2 years before somebody files a lawsuit. Yeah. And then typically the only time that you're going to depose the police officer is if you get kind of deep into litigation. So it is your years after this. And everybody's making decisions on fault, liability. The other thing is, if there's a big impact, you can assume that there's a big injury. If there's a small impact, they take a position that it's a small injury, whether it is a small injury or not. And so, but all of that stuff is wrapped up in this very, very important document. But let me ask you this one: as an officer, how many of these traffic collision reports are you doing a day or a week?
It depends on the office and where you work, right? Like San Diego, extremely busy. I could take 5-6 crashes a day. Right?
No way.
Absolutely. And it's like
terrible.
Yeah. And it was at the point, and they don't obviously reimburse you for your time, but it was at the point where I didn't want to go to work the next day with debt. I didn't want to go to work. So I'd sit at home and I would try to crank out some reports when I was watching TV. There are some offices, and this is kind of like a funny story. So I met an officer, young kid at the time, just like brand new. He worked in Blythe. You know where Blythe's at?
Oh yeah.
And he took like one crash a month, right? And it was like a property damage only crash. And those, when it's just property damage only, no injuries, they're super easy reports. Like you can knock one out in like 20 minutes. They were so bored out there that they would treat that like a full-on investigation. Like he would do like measurements and like diagrams. Yeah, he was telling me this. I'm like, dude, like you have no idea.
you need to,
That's so funny.
you need to get transferred. That's
Yeah.
so funny.
How
But no-
many of those would like result in having to do a deposition? Did you have to do a lot of those?
No, I've probably only done less than 10 depositions in my entire
Oh,
career.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
to include up until I did 2 of them when I was retired.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, because you
Oh.
get called back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
Do you just
yeah,
play the
not
card? You're
many.
like, you know what? I don't remember since I hit my head. I'm kidding.
Yeah. The first one I ever did though, the first deposition I ever did, it was a really, really horrible accident. And
Oh.
the accident, it was like within my first year or so on the job. I was still in a car, and I'll never forget. I was working with my academy classmate, and it was like a New Year's Eve DUI patrol. And we showed up at this accident where these two kids, they basically went full speed into the back of a tractor trailer, right? And I'll never forget them pulling these kids out, and they just look like you're pulling a bag of bones. Like they look like jelly. I thought for sure they had passed away. But ultimately, I ended up doing a deposition for that, and obviously, understandably, why. And it's like I did it years later, and I remember everything about that day because it was so horrible.
Oh, I bet. I bet that stuff sticks with you.
So
Yeah.
did they pass away?
No, no, but they required extreme long-term care. I remember the one,
Oh.
I think it was an attorney was telling me it cost, they estimated $1 million a year to take care of this kid.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
So awful.
Yeah, you don't
Wow.
forget those things.
Yeah.
But I guess the biggest thing is I didn't expect out of this, but just how important that foundational document is. From a personal injury perspective, that's what starts everything. And so and for those that don't, if they're not getting an attorney to begin with and you're not staying on top of it, it becomes so much more difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily for yours, there was some of the best reporting because MAIT got involved. They're elite accident reconstructionist, and so you have
Wait, who?
What?
May?
MAIT,
MAIT.
MAIT. What does it stand for?
It's a
been so long.
multidisciplinary accident investigation team.
Oh, okay.
But so I mean, they have the capability to where they had the 4D. They had a drone up going back and forth.
Yeah.
They had the dot scanner to where we could see every little leaf that was around.
Wow.
There was thousands of photos. They interviewed all of those people. But even with all of that, it could still be difficult to kind of reconstruct what happened.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, for those folks, that's what they're doing. They probably don't have to do 5 a day, right? They're not.
No, no.
No,
But
so
still,
yours.
it takes those guys forever. I mean, I'm not knocking them, but it takes them
Yeah.
forever to do a report
Yeah.
because it's like math to the max.
Yeah.
Those guys are extremely smart and good at what they do.
And scientific.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So you said that you were still in a car. So how long did it take for you to get to the motorcycle part?
Oh, yeah.
Is
Tell
that
us
your
about that.
goal?
Well, so I never thought I would do that. I hate, and I was always told if you wanted to do that, it was gonna take you years and years and years to do it. But
You're
luckily at
talking
the
about be a
time,
motorcyclist.
yeah,
Be the moto
luckily at the
office.
time, my office, they had openings, and I had some guys that were on motors that were kind of mentoring me, and one of them was my second phase training officer. His name was Louis Andrade. He retired a while ago. Friggin'
Louis.
the best dude in the world, right? Like second dad. And he'll name will come up when we talk about why I do the reports the way I do my reports, or way I did my reports is because of him. But he was my second phase training officer, and he was kind of talking to me about it, and kind of got the bug in my ear. And so I went up. I graduated the academy in, I want to say June of '06, and I graduated motorcycle training in November of '08.
Wow.
But
Okay, wait.
it took me a year to go through the motorcycle stuff because we were going through a big budget crisis at the time, and my class got canceled 4 times.
Oh,
So
geez.
I was ready to go 4 months, practicing every day, and my date would come up, and they say, "Oh, we got to cancel it. No, what? No, we don't have the budget for it." And then next month, for 4 months, it was like that.
Did
So
you?
Tell me about that.
Wait, no,
Oh,
I have a really important question. Did you? I don't. I think I'm older than you, but did you watch Chips growing up?
oh yeah, and
That
it's
was
funny
like the
because
best. Where you're like, I'm Chips.
and it's not like I watched it just because it was a good show, right? It's not like I
Yeah.
watched it because I wanted to be it, but it was on
Right.
like TNT before I went to school. So and
Uh-huh.
they always played those like 70s shows,
Yeah.
I think
and
Kerrie
I
saw
remember,
it when it was out on when it was
No, I watched it on TNT before school.
yeah. So it was like, yeah, it was kind of funny.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but the process, so you go through you go through the academy, then you get sent out, and then what does it look like? I mean, do you go back to the academy for the moto training?
Yeah, yeah. You have to go back up, and it's they call it. I mean, the common term you'll hear is motor school,
Motor
Motor
school.
right? But it's
school.
not a school. They don't teach you anything. You're expected. But people sometimes some people go up there thinking that. You'll
Oh,
have guys go up there totally unprepared. And I don't think
Like,
it's
how
the
do I
case,
turn this on? How do I
right?
turn
I
it
don't
on?
think it's the case now. So when I went through, it was like a 70% failure rate, right? And
what?
most people went up at least 2 times before they passed. I think I read somewhere online they're up to like a 90% pass rate now.
Oh
Hmm.
boy.
And I've heard both sides of the spectrum on why that is, right? I've heard like, oh, guys are more prepared. And I've also heard they're trying to you know,
Yeah.
flood the offices with bikes. Um, Regardless, it's still no joke, regardless. But it's 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If you pretty much make it to the first Friday, make it through the first Friday, you're unless you screw up big time in the second week, like you're gonna pass. The
Mm-hmm.
first week though is just brutal, brutal.
Mm-hmm.
It
So when I
sounds
went
like
up in November, it was cold. It was so cold that we would take our breaks. We'd have to take our gloves off and put our hands on the engine just to keep
Oh
them
my
warm
God.
because it gets freezing cold up here. You
yeah.
Ah.
know? Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Jeez.
That is funny. Well, hey, one of the things I kind of wanted to start looking at is, the law, what as it relates to traffic, the vehicle code. And so one of the big questions that we see out there has to do about the move over law. And can you
Okay.
tell us what the move over law is and kind of what do most drivers get wrong about the move over law?
I think first of all, the move over law is I'm gonna say is relatively new, right? Within the last 10 years or so. I forget exactly when it came out, but it's to protect first responders and other highway workers along the road. So whether that be a police officer on a traffic stop, collision scene, or like Caltrans doing construction, if they're on the right shoulder, you're required to slow down and, if feasible, move over a lane to give space.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest problem is just people don't do it.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just being lazy.
Yeah.
Do you think people don't see them or they just don't care?
I think they don't care, and I think some of it is they want to see what's going on, right? Like the
Yeah,
looky
right.
loos.
Oh,
They want to
Yeah, my
slow down,
mother.
like crane their
Yeah,
head and then like look over.
that's terrible.
my mother
Yeah.
calls them the rubberneckers.
The rubberneckers.
The rubberneckers. Uh-huh. But you know what? I mean, I didn't know about that law. Like, I don't know. I'm supposed to go all the way over a lane. Did they like? How did we find out about it?
You know, whenever they push out something
Is
like
that
that,
bad?
they always do
Yeah.
like a big, and they'll push it out like in the media for a while, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe like
Mm-hmm.
a couple weeks, and they'll put like signs up. But
Yeah.
other than that, like it just kind of just fades away, and like you're supposed to know. I mean,
Right.
it's hard. I mean, the vehicle code's like this thick, right? Like it's like 40
Yeah.
something thousand vehicle codes in there, so it's like
Yep. Yep.
there's a lot to
But you
learn.
know what? That makes me think about is that I, like in the last few months, had to get my license renewed and I had to go to DV, take a new
Mm-hmm.
picture. And that would probably be a good time to maybe give me a handout, like what has changed
Yeah,
since,
that's not a
not the
bad
whole
idea.
book, but something where it's like, okay, well, I just did the thing, where they said, great, you're good to drive. And actually, what's funny is I was waiting in line to take my picture with a bunch of people. And some people at the window, some of them they were like, oh no, you got to go take the test. And so we're all sitting there sweating, like, am I going to have to be one of those people?
Because you didn't study.
Because I was like, oh no. And I
Right, right.
wasn't. But I mean, there is like an important piece to like what are these changes in the laws that we're supposed to be following for safety reasons. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No, that's a good idea.
Well, what about how is it enforced? I guess is one other thing. I guess that's a
I
problem.
mean, the way I've seen it enforced is twofold. I've seen like if an extra officer on scene, right, witnesses somebody like blowing past the scene like at 80 miles an hour or 65 miles an hour, right, and not slowing down or moving over, like I've
Mm-hmm.
seen them take off and get that person. Or
Yeah.
if another officer is like driving somewhere by that and sees it happening, then they'll pull it over. It's kind of like a situational type deal.
Uh, I want to eventually want to get into kind of like your everyday sort of shift, what that looked like, what that kind of looks like. But before we get into that, kind of some of the things with all of the experience. I mean, if you're coming to 5 collisions a day, you're working at least 20 days a month, possibly even more. So you're potentially dealing with like 100 crashes in a month, right?
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah, that's I mean, this ain't Blythe. Um, but so with all of that, what do you think is the most important things for people to know about if they're in a crash on the highway, if it's out in even on the like a municipal streets, a city streets? Like what are the things that people should be doing from your perspective? Because you're talking CHP and kind of EMT almost, right? Because you're a first responder.
Right. So, I mean, the first thing is if your car is drivable, if there's unless there's somebody like seriously injured, right? If it's just like a little property damage only crash, get in your car and move it over. Get it out of the road. Get it to a safe location. If you can get off the freeway, get off the freeway. If you can get into a parking lot, get into a parking lot. Um, and then I tell people it's a good idea for those people to, take pictures. Hey, while you're here, take pictures of your car. Right? I'm not gonna because most crashes I'm not taking pictures unless it's
Yeah,
a
Mm-hmm.
serious accident, right?
yeah.
So if you want to take a picture, take all the pictures you want. Make sure you take pictures of the license plates. Make sure you take pictures of damage, all that stuff, and then you know that's pretty much it. There's not
You
much
know
to
what?
do. Just get safe.
I have a question. So, what happens if the accident happens right in front of you on the highway? Like
Mm,
I had a situation where there was a little bit of traffic and
mhm.
there was a guy on a motorcycle. He had somebody, on the bike behind him. And there was like a trailer and this motorcyclist was like, just splitting
Yeah,
lanes, but he clipped the back of a trailer. And that
yeah.
guy in the trailer didn't even see he was switching lanes. So now the motorcyclist goes flying, the bike goes flying. I'm the car directly behind him, and I'm like, oh my God, now there's all this traffic. Now, I don't want anyone to run him over. So I'm like slowing down and I'm trying to pull over, but I'm also trying to keep my car sort of right behind so that people don't come. So that was just a really interesting situation. And so I think about folks who are witnessing something or like right there, people swerve around it, but should somebody be stopping to try to protect it? Or what do you think should be the
I
best way
mean,
to handle that?
you shouldn't jeopardize your own safety, right? Like it if it's like the middle of the night and there's no traffic. I mean, I can't
Yeah.
tell people what to do, what not to do.
Uh
I
huh.
can just say like that's not a. I mean, if there's a lot of traffic and you can safely like block,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Mm hmm.
But then again, do you have to be there? Because if you get hit, then
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's just kind of like it's one of those things where I don't know. I would never put my family in a position like that. Like if the kids were in the car,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I'm gonna pull off and like I'll
Yeah.
wait for an officer to contact me or whatever. But I don't
So
know.
then,
That's
Right.
in
that's
which
It's
the
just
case,
situational.
yeah.
so here's the funny thing
Yeah.
about the highway stuff, right? Because I feel the same way, and even there's, we live in a certain part of San Diego where there's this main road cutting up Fairmont, and in the past like 6 months, there's been 2 fatalities there, and what it is that somebody breaks down and they pull over, and it's somebody helping, and
Yeah.
this other person
Yeah.
pulls over, and then some other person hits that person who pulled over. going 50 miles an hour, right?
Right.
So it's just kind of like you're sitting there, you know, where I grew up, it was like, oh, something's wrong. You better pull over and help people. But I'm
Yeah.
sitting there looking at my kids telling them, no, you can't because it's
Right.
not worth it. So from a witness perspective, like, so in that case, Kerrie is a perfect witness because she saw it all. But for her own safety, she's going to go away. So can she call the CHP? Can she call 911? Like who should she be calling to leave a witness statement? So her name and phone number is down.
She can call 911, and then the dispatcher will attach her name and phone number to the dispatch log, right? So the officer will read that log on the computer and see her name and phone number as listed as a witness and call her. Or,
Okay.
she can always call the local CHP officer, San Diego PD traffic division, or just go in person and say, hey, I witnessed this accident this day.
Well, and I would say, I mean, I come from a slant a little bit, but it's almost like it's our civil duty to do something like that because here's the thing, coming back, I cannot tell you how important the traffic collision report is for personal injury cases. And so if you're on a side street, not very busy street, you're likely going to have witnesses that are around. And somebody's going to pull up, maybe they're sitting drinking coffee somewhere, whatever it may be. And so the officer who shows up is going to have witnesses who are physically there so that you can get the names, the phone numbers, you can take a statement from them. And then it gets into the traffic collision report, so then somebody can go back later and call that witness. But if you're on the highway, it isn't. And so for us, it's and I think Kerrie does a good job of her duty of calling because we've been on the road a couple times when people cause crashes.
I like to call. I feel like it's important to let somebody. We saw some car flip off the road once, and I was like, "Well, we better call." And Rory's like, "Ugh."
No, well, because that person caused it, and then it turns out the
Anyway.
person didn't have a driver's license.
They didn't.
Oh, there you go.
But still, I get it. So it's just kind of that importance of calling. So then, as the officer, so do you? Like at the end of the day, do you go back and look at logs, or how do you even know that person? Let's say it was you at an accident scene on a freeway, and how do you know whether there was a witness or not? Who maybe somebody saw it all, drove away, and called 911. How do you find that out?
Sometimes the dispatch that I worked with in San Diego, the border division dispatch, they were always awesome. Like, hey, you have a number of witnesses. I'll attach them to a log for you. They'll let you know over the radio, right?
Oh,
So
that's
that
cool.
yeah. So sometimes you don't need to call them because you have so many at the scene, right? I mean, I guess you should call everybody, but I mean, I'm going to call 30 people when it's like a little bender, right? I mean,
Yeah.
but then sometimes too, like you'll be sitting down doing your report, and you're like, this doesn't make any sense, or
Yep.
then you'll call and you'll say, hey, can you send over that log for incident number, whatever, and then you'll look through it and see a witness or whatever, and call them up.
Yeah.
So.
And then if there's no witnesses, then there's no log.
No, there's always a log. Dispatch always generates a log, right? It'll have like the time that it was dispatched, the time you arrived, like all like the details pertaining to like the response. But they'll include like witness stuff in there too.
Yeah, because when you call, they ask you questions, and so you just tell them all the things, right? You're like, "Oh, I just saw XYZ, and this is the direction I'm going in," and like all of those details.
Right.
That's also in the report.
When you show up at these scenes, is it always that there's an ambulance or some sort of other sort of EMT that's there, or are you the one who's calling?
It depends. Sometimes they're there first, right? Or sometimes because there's different like radio codes for levels of accidents, right? There's like a property damage only code. There's a minor injury code. So when it's property damage only, the dispatch is not going to send, the fire department. But when it's like, a rollover accident, possible injuries, they're going to send the fire. Sometimes they're there first. Sometimes you get there and it's a property damage only accident, and I'll come with something in a second. And talk to the people and be like, you know what, I'm going to start an ambulance for this person.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yep.
so it wasn't until a few years in that I started doing this, and I did this, and you're gonna laugh at this. So I'll never forget this crash. It was at nighttime, and it was on the 163 North coming out of downtown.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So pretty dark, right? It was like the most minor property damage only accident ever, right? Like you had to like look for a scratch in this bumper, and these two women that were rear-ended were flailing on the ground like they were like paralyzed, like screaming. Like so, it's like, all right, well, an ambulance, and they kept up this whole charade
Yeah.
all the way to the hospital, right? So I'm like, you know what? From now on, I don't care how minor it is, and it's kind of like an icebreaker. I'd be like, hey, everybody, all right? Anybody need an ambulance?
Yeah.
Right? And it could be like the stupidest accident in the world.
Yeah.
So some people will chuckle at it, right? And it kind of like
Yeah.
breaks the ice a little bit, like kind
Yeah.
of gets their guard down. And just some people just be like, no, or you know what, my neck kind of hurts. Well, do you want to name this? That way I can liability wise for me,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
I don't want them to come back later on and be like, well, the officer never asked me if I was hurt. Like, well, I didn't think I
Yeah.
needed to because like I don't know, you scraped a tree branch or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
Right. Right.
but I always started doing that after that. Always.
Good
So
idea.
what's the sort of interaction between you and the EMT or the fire department that shows up? Is there anything? Is there any like typical sort of protocol? Is it just that you each are doing your own thing?
Yeah, so I know people in San Diego are going to throw out the whole like firefighter getting arrested thing, right? And I know the whole story to that, and it's not what it sounds like. I wasn't there, but I know the officer that did it. Stand up guy, and obviously you haven't heard anything about that since. So that tells you something right there. Anyway,
Yeah.
but that out of the way. The fire department in San Diego and the surrounding cities down there, they were awesome. Always awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. They would, I mean, if you needed to like talk to somebody, like I would just be like, hey, do you mind if I talk to this person real quick? Or hey, when you guys are done, they would they would work seamlessly with you, right?
Yeah.
Because they had a job to do, and they
Right.
know that you had a job to do, right? And it's almost like a relationship type thing, right? Like
Yeah.
if I'm rude to them, they're gonna be rude to me, and I would expect that, right? But if I'm
Right.
nice to them, and you're gonna see the same guys over and over and over again too,
I bet.
Yep.
I
right?
bet.
Yep.
To the point where like, hey, they'll like, I'll go back to my motorcycle. There'll be like bottles of water in my saddlebag, right?
Yeah.
That's always carry bottles of water, right?
Yeah.
Just I don't know. It was always I always had a good relationship with them.
Yep.
So-
So you know what? I'm sorry. I have a quick question. Okay, so like we all watch like cop shows, but like what is a real day like? Like, so you would ride your motorcycle. Did you check in at the station first? Did they give you a list of things to do? Do you grab like what happens? Do you gear up when you get there? Is that where the gun is? Like I don't, just like
Well,
what are those basics?
Yeah. Your shift.
Yeah.
yeah. So for on the bike, I'll just stick to the motorcycle stuff, right? So
Yeah.
we're all assigned our own motorcycle, right? That we take care of, and we're
Mhm.
responsible for getting it serviced. So we take it home. So as soon
Oh.
as we leave our garage in uniform, we're
Yep.
in service, right? Like we can pull people over, we can respond to stuff,
Huh.
but every officer, whether you're in a car or on a bike, has to go to the office for a briefing, right? It's a 30-minute briefing.
Yeah.
Sergeant gets up there, reads some safety stuff out, um, talks about some training, and then you get assigned your beat or your area where you're going to work that day. And it goes in,
Yeah.
and for CHP, it goes in order of seniority, right? So like if Rory's been on longer than me, Rory would pick where he wants to work first. And then he would go down to me, and then he'd go down to the next person.
Mhm.
So you might work a different spot every single day, or you could be senior enough to where you get your first choice every single time,
Oh,
right?
wow. Okay.
So
Yeah, I didn't
one day,
realize that.
if you're a junior guy, one day you could be working La Jolla, and the next day you could be working San Ysidro. I mean, you could be all over the map.
Yeah.
So then after the briefing, though, you're on your own the whole whatever 8, 10, 12 hours.
Wow.
You know, you may see your partners and you may not see your partners,
Mhm.
right? And at the end of the day, you come back and you have a 30-minute debrief where you tighten up your paperwork, turn your stuff in, and then go home.
So
Okay,
then what
wait.
do you?
I'm sorry. I
Oh.
have a really quick question. Sorry. So what's funny is if you're leaving your driveway, right? I guess like for everybody whose neighbors are cops, heads up, right? Like you could just pull somebody over right there, like right by your house.
I've
That's a
done
real.
that before.
Really?
It's a real
Yeah,
neighborly
absolutely.
thing. They're
Yeah.
like, oh,
I don't
thanks,
know.
Officer Heightman.
I don't know and I don't know
I'll
if we
see you
told you this
Sunday.
story. I don't know if we told you the story or not when we first moved to the house in Escondido. about the construction crew that was breaking into houses, the new build houses.
No.
Because it's all
So
those ticky-tacky houses. It's just like, it looks like condominiums. They're just all like the houses
right,
that look the same.
Okay.
yeah. So it was our street was still under construction, right? And all the driveways and garages were alley fed, right? So between our garages in the back of the house went down an alley. The house behind us, garage
Yeah.
in the back, right?
Yep, yep,
So
yep.
like 3 houses over behind us, it was still under construction. And that's where the construction crew was like setting up their like temporary office.
Yeah.
Well, there had been a whole lot of like break-ins going on. Well, we had cameras, and
Mm.
Kay was at work, and I leave the house to go to work, and I'm not even out of the neighborhood. And my phone's going off I could feel it in my breast pocket, right? So like one ring, I'm like, okay, whatever, and then it rings again. So I'm like, oh, something's up. So I pull over and I see it's her, and I answer it, and she's like, hey, someone's trying to break in the house right now.
Oh my
Right as you're
God.
leaving?
Jeez. Were they waiting for you to leave?
Yeah, yeah. So
Ah.
they were coming up, and then they were on the camera. This woman was like saying, like in Spanish, like, "Oh, there's no way for me to get in." Like she was like looking for a way to get in, right? And Kay had one of her partners who spoke Spanish to do the translation. So I flip around, and I basically traffic stop her in front of my house,
Yeah.
and she didn't commit a crime at that point, right? So I just got all of her
Yeah.
information. So I'm kind of like grilling her, like, what were you doing at the house? Well, I wasn't at that house. And then I was like, well, I know you were because there's cameras. She's like, well, my friend lives there. I'm like, oh, really? Like, what's your friend's name? Right? So, right. Got all her information. So she was on probation for theft and burglary.
Yep.
Her baby daddy was the foreman on the construction crew for Cal Atlantic at the time, and he was working behind the house. So we passed the information on to
Yeah.
the local authorities, and they did a little fourth waiver search on their house, and
Yeah.
he's not working there anymore.
All your stuff.
Wow.
Well, it's so funny what dummies they go after where there's a San Diego police detective and California Highway Patrolman. Like
Yeah.
I mean, it's if you're gonna rob somebody, there's other houses that are probably better to rob.
Well, they probably assumed that there was guns in the house they could steal them,
Oh, wow.
right?
Oh yeah, I guess.
That's
Jeez.
that's some brass.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
besides stopping people from breaking into your house, what
Yeah.
what else would you do during the day? So you'd show up, you got your 30 minutes, then whatever pecking order you decide where you're going to be, and so then you're just driving back and forth. You got a couple of spots you hang out. What do you do?
So, I mean, you're supposed to, per policy, they call it sweeping your beat, right? So you're supposed to
Oh.
drive the entire length of your assigned area, and then check for like if someone's disabled on the side of the road,
Yeah.
or if there's anything like, I don't know, there could be like a obstruction of the roadway or whatever. You're supposed to just make sure it's clean, right?
Yeah.
And then after that, I mean, you basically do whatever you want. If you want to write ticket, this is the way I end up. So when I was when I was younger, right? So when I was earlier, I would just go out and hammer, boom. I just write tickets all day, right?
Yeah.
And it'd be like, depends if it's super hot out. I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna go write 10 tickets before 2 o'clock,
Yeah.
and then after that, I'm gonna go sit at coffee, and then I'm gonna respond to my crashes as I know. Working the afternoon shift, come rush hour, everyone's leaving work. That's when the crashes are gonna happen. So I'm not gonna have time to write tickets, right? So I'm just gonna have to keep going to crashes, and then my dinner time would be spent writing my reports and eating dinner. So you kind of have to feel the vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like where you're working, like, and two, like if I'm going to be working like Escondido on the 15, I know I could just go out and grab speed tickets all day, right?
Yeah.
And then I know certain areas where there are going to be crashes at.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of preparing
because
myself.
there's just the natural flow that just every day is going to have the same thing.
Yeah. So like you become accustomed to it. Like you just know, you know your beat. So
then if you come up on a traffic collision, what's the first thing, the first 10 seconds, what does that look like? What are you thinking about? What are you doing? What's going on?
Well, you get the information from dispatch, right? And if lanes are blocked, you got to keep that into consideration. Like, am I going to bring a traffic break in? Am I going to slow everybody down? Am I going to have to move these cars over, or are they on their right shoulder already? So, but once you get the road clear, if you can clear it, you go up, and that's why, hey, everybody all right? You need an ambulance?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me see your license, registration, insurance. And I separate the people, right? So I don't want person A to hear what person B is saying, right? For a number of reasons. I don't want them to taint each other's statements. And I also don't want them to start shouting at each other, which has happened, right?
Yep.
The blame game. So then if you're by yourself, you gotta do everything by yourself. If you have a partner that shows up, or partners that show up, you just say, hey, Rory, can you go talk to this person? And you just don't even bother with it, right? You just take your statement down, look at the vehicle damage, right? Make some notes. If you want to take some pictures, and then get your pile of paperwork, throw it in your bike, and move on.
And then you go on to the next. So what about with a traffic ticket? So I mean, if you're doing 10 in a day or 10 in the morning, what you pull somebody over, what information are you getting just from the license plate? What are you thinking about as you're going up to it, as the people are pulled over? What's going on?
I mean, you don't know anything about the car when you're pulling over.
Right.
If you're a car officer, a lot of the car guys will run the plate before they stop it.
Yeah.
Right? Do a registration launch check. On the motorcycle, you don't have that luxury, right? You don't have a tablet where you can just like type it in while you're riding. Sometimes when you get like that little spidey sense, we're like, hey, something's not right here. Like you can run the plate through dispatch while you're going.
Okay.
Right. And that tells dispatch and it tells your partners, like if a motor officer's running a registration launch check, something, maybe I should start migrating my way over there. Right. Like something, you think something's not right.
Yep.
But if you don't do that, you just walk up. You're looking for tinted windows. For me, like if the windows were too tinted, you just kind of ask them, hey, roll your windows down so you can see in the car.
Yeah.
Right. And then you make whatever side vehicle approach you want. You're always looking at the person's hands, right? Because those are the hands that could kill you, not the eyes. I'm looking at them kind of like while I'm talking to the person, kind of like scanning the car, see if I can see anything weird. And then asking for their stuff and handle business.
That's intense, though.
It's scary.
That's
I
intense.
feel like that's scary, right?
Yeah. And you're doing 10 times a day?
Well, I mean, at least, my best day was...
was someone else's worst or 20?
My best day was 44. My best day was 46 tickets.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. And then I had a day where I did 22 tickets, and then I had 2 DUI arrests in the same day.
Wow.
So
where are we at? Who are these people?
I know.
Right. There's also days where I went out there and I couldn't write a single ticket.
Yeah.
Couldn't write a single ticket because I was so busy going from call to call to call to call to call.
Oh,
right. So I would average 10 a day.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
But there are those odd days where, man, you cannot get a ticket in to save your life. You're just so busy.
Hey, wait. So, when like people are like, oh, I got pulled over, but I cried, or I said I was pregnant, or have you heard are there any like excuses or stories that you've heard, particularly that people are trying to get out of it?
Stories.
Right?
Oh, I mean, you hear everything from like, you know what? I mean, you'll hear like, and if you can think about it, it's happened. But the ones that are ridiculous, like you'll pull over like a doctor, right?
Oh,
I'm on my way to Sharp Memorial to there was a bad accident and they need me in trauma. I'm like, wait, first of all, you're telling me that there's not a trauma doctor on duty right now?
Yeah.
Right.
At the hospital, right? Like, how about you just slow down?
Yeah.
Did you still write the ticket?
I don't remember if I wrote that ticket or not.
Yeah, you should have.
But
He was lying.
It was one. I did pull over this. I forget what agency. He was like with like Orange County sheriffs or something like that. But he lived in North County, San Diego, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know he was going home. But I'm on the 78 going home from work, and this guy's freaking hauling. He's hauling in his like, it was like his undercover ride, right? No,
yeah.
But I pull him over, and he's like, "Oh, there's a emergency code cover call that I'm responding to for an officer down or whatever." I'm like, dude, I would know that because I'm an
you would
officer.
know that
I'm
one.
like, first of all, like that's complete BS. You know,
Yeah.
I would just rip them a new one. But
Did you ever let people off though from the ticket?
yeah, I've let people off for tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Few
Yeah.
and far between. If I pulled you over, you're pretty much getting a ticket for something.
Yeah.
You know, honestly though. But like
for something.
for me though too, like if I pulled you over for speed and I saw that you had like a tinted windows or something, I'm like, hey, listen, yo, I'm gonna cut your brake on the speed today, but I'm gonna write you a fixed ticket for your tinted windows. Like
Oh,
if I'm gonna put my life in danger pulling you over
Right.
for something
Yeah.
that you did, you're gonna get some kind of paper out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes sense.
No.
though.
Yeah, totally.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. What was kind of the strangest thing that happened in pulling somebody over? Whether it was the person, the scenario.
And whatever was in the back seat.
All right, so I'm gonna give you 3 that I can think of right now that are
I'll take it.
Yes.
okay. So the first one that you talk about like seeing something weird in the back seat. So I pull this woman over on the 805 south of the 8, and she's going like 96 something miles, almost 100 miles an hour, right? So she pulls over in a center divide, and I walk up on the driver's side, and I do like my little pause,
Mm-hmm.
and I look in the back seat, and it looks like a baby doll in the back seat, right, just laying on the back seat. And I'm like, I step forward, and I see the eyes tracking me. And I do like one of these, do one of these, do one of these. Like it's a baby, and not even in a car seat, just laying.
Shut up.
Just laying literally on the back seat of this car, right? And this woman is suspended, was going 96, and has a
Yeah.
baby in the back, and it wasn't even her kid.
Oh, good God.
Did you
It was like
arrest
her
her?
niece.
Oh my
No, I
God.
towed it, and I had to call the mom to come get the kid. Like it was just, it was
Yeah.
a mess. And then, so I'll tell you a funny one, then I'll lead into my shooting about
Oh.
kind of yeah. So a funny one is this is pre-body camera days, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
So you could do whatever you
Were
wanted.
those the good old
yeah,
days?
kind of, but
Just kidding.
you know, I end up having there used to be like these police recorders you can wear. And they were like
Mhm.
basically just like regular recorders, but you can run like the mic up here,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really good. So I bought one, and I pulled this woman over north 805, north of Home Avenue, right? Just hauling. She was going up her 90s. So I pull her over, and she's suspended, and she just starts going off on me, right? It was just like this black female, and she's going off on me. Not the racial stuff though, but she was saying that I was a member of the Illuminati,
Oh boy.
Oh.
and that like, and she was just ranting about all this kind of stuff, right? She was like totally like just going off on me, right? Anyway, so I wrote her ticket, I towed her car, right? Like 2 weeks later, okay, different time of day. I'm on the 8 by Sports Arena,
Yeah.
Okay.
right by SeaWorld,
Yep.
and I was towing this guy's bike he was in a pack of motorcycles. He was racing, and he was unlicensed, right?
Oh boy.
So I'm towing this guy's bike. I'm like at the beginning of the off ramp. So I'm handling my business and talking to this guy, and this car pulls up, and this woman leans out of the car, and she's like, "Officer Heightman likes to tow people shit." Blah, blah, blah. And it's her.
That's crazy.
Her.
She remembered your name.
Yeah. And she was just going off on me how I like to tow people's cars and stuff. And it was like a complete, you know,
Did you tell her
random,
that
like,
that's what they
That's-
teach you in the Illuminati?
yeah.
That's hysterical. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
I
Wow.
know. I'll never forget that. It was hilarious. Then that car ended up pulling over, and they gave this guy a ride.
Shut up.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's hysterical.
Yeah. So,
All right.
and then,
Number 3.
Yeah.
Number 3, you said
The
so
shooting.
the shooting. So this goes back to
Yeah.
like kind of, you know, the dangers of pulling people over, not
Yeah.
knowing. And then I'm going to say like complacency, right?
Yep.
Because you're doing it like 10, 20
Yeah.
times a day, right?
Yeah.
Like you can
Yep.
start to get in that mode of like, you know,
Yep.
just getting lazy.
Routine.
So-
yeah.
It was like I was south 805 V8. There's a little spot there. It's in the reverse gore point. You know, like where the 2 white lines come together. They call that a gore point.
Okay.
And then in the office, we had a term for that. It was called Reardon's Revenge, because there's a husband and wife team, Cammie and Steve Reardon, who still work there. That's like their spot. So
Oh.
they love it. So they called it Reardon's Revenge, right? So if you're gonna go shoot LiDAR, you know, hey, I'm gonna go to R&R. So I was shooting LiDAR, Ruden's Revenge, and I get this truck. I don't even remember how fast it was going. It wasn't crazy. It was an older pickup truck, two males in it, and I get behind it right away, slows down. It does like everything it's supposed to do, right? It puts its hazard lights on, it slows down. The guy's doing one of these, like I'm gonna pull off the freeway at Alcohol Boulevard because there's a 76 gas station right there. So he like disarmed me, right? Like, okay, well, this guy's cool because
Yeah.
he's like doing everything he's supposed to do. Well, he pulls next to the building, and I get my side stand down, and I'm like unplugging my helmet because back then we had to plug our helmets in. Unplug my helmet, get off my bike, and the door opens up, and I could see him like lean out and like look at me, and he just takes off running, and it was stolen,
Oh,
right? But in that moment, I thought, in retrospect, I was like, dude, if that guy turned around with a gun,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have been right in the line of fire, and I would have been totally
Yeah.
unprepared.
Yeah.
So, like 2 days, like from that point on, like the next 2 days, every time I would come to a stop, I was always like my hand was on my gun, and
Yeah.
I would undo the safety on it, right, the hood, and then that's how we get off my bike. I started making it a habit like within 2 days. Well, 2 days
Wow.
later, sure enough, I was at the same spot, got a guy at 93, and got in a little short pursuit, and he ended up pulling a shotgun on me.
Whoa.
So, like, I kind of think like in like the religious aspect of it, that's the first
Yeah.
time I think God intervened in my
Yeah.
life to kind
Yeah.
of give me a wake up call and said, "Hey,
Yep.
what else could that be?
Right?
No.
Totally.
You know, like what are the
Yes.
chances of that?"
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Well, in all of your
Wow, that's
time,
crazy.
did something like that happen again? Somebody pulled a gun on you?
Well, that was the first time. That was the first time. I've seen guns and traffic stops before, and got guns
Yeah.
off of people before, but that's the
But
first
anything
time I got
pointed
hurt.
at you?
Yeah, no, it's the first time.
Oh, that's crazy.
So the
Yeah.
thing about pulling a shotgun is, aren't those really big? You know,
Yeah,
like
but
how did?
it was yeah. So it's funny. So when this guy exited the freeway
Yeah.
off the 15 in Ocean View down there, kind of by the naval base, I thought he hit the curb and like spun out, but he was trying to pull like a Fast and Furious where he like pulled the e-brake and he spun
Oh.
himself out. Well, I'm coming up to the intersection of this car sideways. He gets out of the car and he's got the shotgun
Oh.
and he starts running. So I start riding after him and I'm yelling at him to stop, and he turns, and that's when I just laid it right down.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
That is that's a little bit more danger than my line of work.
Just crossing the street in North Park.
Although
Well,
across
that
the
is
street in North
dangerous.
Park,
Yeah.
I could get killed 4 times a
gonna say.
day.
Yeah.
That's Rory's
It can be pretty
biggest risk.
dangerous.
Well, that's
Well,
crazy.
we've taken a lot of his time, by the way,
Well,
babe.
what's that?
We've taken a lot of
Oh,
his
we are
time.
taking a lot of your time, but just a couple quick questions, just because
Yeah.
you know, from the perspective of a kind of the CHP officer. So, like, what is the one thing that you wish every driver did differently?
Honestly, you just slow down and give people space between cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, right now it drives me mad being a private citizen and just seeing all these cars flying down, people riding each other's. Like, if everyone just kind of like drove close to the speed limit and like gave each other space, I think a lot of the traffic congestion would kind of go away.
You'd have a lot less work.
Yeah.
You want to ask me that question? Because I would say,
Hold on, what was the question again?
but you know what? People don't use their indicator, their blinker, and it makes me nuts. I don't know. Like, it just drives me crazy because I feel like traffic could flow better. If I know you're going to go left, then I can go straight. But now I waited for you and then you went left and I could have gone straight a long time ago. Why don't people use their blinker? So anyway, what's the next question for us?
That sounds more like being impatient as opposed to the
I am
general
impatient.
safety of everyone else.
Okay, fine.
Common courtesy.
Yeah.
No, that is. I
Thank
got
you.
it. That makes sense. That makes sense.
All right, next
Okay.
question, counselor.
So this is, what is the most common thing that people would get wrong about your job as the CHP officer?
I think that all the officers are out there just to, ruin people's day.
Yeah.
Well, when you're writing 46
You know?
tickets, we're kind of left with something.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
No, I get it.
listen, don't screw up. How about that?
Right.
Yeah. No,
Well,
I mean, that
driving
makes sense.
fast is like creates risk, and so the
Yeah,
whole thing is to like minimize risk, right?
I
yeah,
guess that's the major point when you're looking at it, is that it's the reason you're able to pull 46 people over is because there's 460 or 4,600 people that
Yeah.
are speeding.
And you know what? A sergeant told me one time that when you pull somebody over, say you could pull them over for whatever, right? A cracked tail light, flash windshield. The cars driving by, what do you think you pulled them over for?
For speeding.
Yeah. So right there, you're deterring people, right? People are hitting
Yeah,
the
that's a good
brakes, people are
point.
slowing down.
Yep.
That
So
is
he
a good
said, "Hey,
point.
listen, like, don't come in here and tell me you can't get tickets. Just go out there and get some tickets, right? You're doing your
Yeah.
job as a deterrent,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Because people see you out there and they don't
Yep.
care what you stop them for. They think you stop them for
Yeah.
speed.
Right.
So I guess that's
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
a
the
good
biggest
point.
thing, is looking at it. It's not like it's not a quota in that you need to bring in a certain amount of revenue. This is about the letting people know that, if you're speeding, if you're going in excess of the law, it's dangerous. And so we're going to be there not for a financial gain for the state, but it's
Right.
for safety gain for
Yeah.
everyone around you.
And like, think about it. Like, you get a speeding ticket. What are you probably not going to do for a while? Speed,
Exactly.
right? What's the
Yeah.
number? What's the
Yeah.
number? What's the number one cause of accidents? Unsafe speed,
That's
Yeah.
right?
right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Totally. Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, super
Undeveloped brains
good
and
point.
unsafe
Yeah.
speed.
Mhm.
All right. So let me ask you this one. Although you're a moto driver, what do you think there's one thing in your car, just like your personal car, that would surprise people?
In my personal car,
Yeah.
ah, I mean, I always carry like a knife with like a window punch on it.
Oh, really?
That's a good, in
Wait, where
case
do
you,
you keep it? In your glove box?
Well, it depends if I have it like on me, but like I'll have it in like the side door pocket, you
Okay.
know.
Yeah.
is
So
that so like if you get submerged?
no, so and this isn't like from experience, right? Like,
Yeah.
so what I've gathered from watching other things is if your vehicle's gonna go get submerged, you got to roll your windows down before it actually goes under,
Yeah.
because the
Mhm.
pressure once your car is under the water will not allow you to roll the window down.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Also, too, right, the water's gonna short out some stuff. So try
Yeah.
to roll
Yeah.
down before. But if it happens, you could hit some windows as hard as you can. Like, they're not gonna break. Especially now, they're starting to do these windows where they have the film inside of them, just like the
Yeah.
windshield. Right? They're
Yeah.
not gonna break as easy. So yeah.
I've seen commercials with that. All right. What's the best piece of advice anyone ever gave you with respect to working as a CHP officer?
Treat everyone with respect,
Hmm.
but be ready to take appropriate action if necessary.
I like that.
Was that Louis?
Yeah,
Probably
he's
was
one of
Louis.
them, yeah. But my cousin who is not a high patrolman. He works for another state. But he's the one that told me that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a
Yep.
good
No, it's
piece of
true.
advice.
Yep.
I'd say it extends to the law. If you could put one sentence on a freeway sign, what would it say?
I like yeah, I like the seatbelt ones. I was always a big
Yeah.
seatbelt ticket guy.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
buckle up.
Buckle
You know,
up.
there's no excuse,
Yeah.
right?
Well, especially now with the cars dinging, ding, ding,
Yeah.
Yeah.
ding,
But you can
ding.
buy these things on Amazon that plug into your
Mhm.
seatbelt
Yeah.
that you don't have to. You know,
Yeah.
I do
Yeah, it's
know.
true.
I do
I see
know.
them like, oh my gosh, but yeah,
Yeah.
buckle up. There's no reason.
What is something you believe now that you didn't believe when you started working as a CHP officer, when you were first out after the academy?
I don't know, but you know what? They kind of evolved that like there really is evil in this world.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's pure evil. You know, you see some pretty screwed up things, and
Yeah.
you see some pretty messed up people,
Yeah.
and there's no other way to describe it than it's like just pure evil. You know?
And I think that to combat that, it's being prepared. I
Yeah,
like that phrase, be essentially be kind,
Yeah.
be graceful, but be ready.
yeah, absolutely. You gotta have situational awareness too. Like, My wife and I talk about it all the time. Like even now, like we'll pick up on things around us that other people won't pick up on, and you're like, oh, these people have no idea. Like,
Well, hey, Joe, this has been awesome.
Yeah, so fun. Thank you so
It's
much.
been good. Thank you for, again, taking your time
hey,
to
you're welcome.
spend an hour or so with us.
It was great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Joe, thank you. Here's what I want people to take out of this. 3 things. 1, when you come up on lights on the shoulder, change lanes if you safely can. And if you cannot, slow down to a speed that would let you stop. That's not a courtesy. That's the law. And now it covers more people and more roads than most drivers realize. 2, if you're hurt, what your body does afterwards is real. The sleep, the nerves, the thing that happens to your chest when you merge into a freeway now. That is not weakness and is not you being dramatic. It's part of the record. 3, and this one is Joe's, not mine. Knowing everything about how crashes work did not protect him for 1 second when it was his turn. Being the expert does not make you exempt.
And I will add the thing I keep thinking about. Joel told us that drivers look at him for about 4 seconds. 4 seconds. That is the entire amount of attention most of us give to a person standing in traffic. And what happens in those 4 seconds can decide the next 20 years of somebody's life.
That is the unseen impact of this one. You can see an inconvenience in the right lane. You do not see a man, a family, a career, and a body that gets all rearranged by a decision somebody makes at 65 miles an hour without ever thinking about it. The impact does not end when the lane clears. It just stops being visible to you. This episode is for everybody who drives. It is for every officer, every tow operator, and every road crew standing out there tonight. It is for anyone who has been hurt and has been quietly wondering whether what they're feeling counts. It counts. If this meant something to you, please rate, review, subscribe, and follow. We're available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. We look forward to seeing you at the next one.
Bye.